we are talking about video games. I have a pile. I won't show you what they are, so you can keep it. Actually, that's not a good idea. Actually, yeah, look. I have a pile of DS games here, and I am going to talk about them. They are very weird DS games. I don't know how to word this. They're just weird ones that are in my collection. I love collecting the DS. I've been collecting for the DS since it was new, pretty much. And it's one of my favorite systems to collect for. There's some weird shit on the DS, but that's what makes it so good. The DS is one of my favorite systems ever because of that. And if you don't have a DS, you should get a DS, because if you get a DSi or a DSi XL, you can just mod that thing and put whatever you want on it, and any game you want on it. I have quite a few actual physical DSs too. If you ever wondered how crazy I am about a video game console, I have a fat DS, another fat DS, a DS Lite, a DSi, and a DSi XL. I think I have enough ways to play DS games if I wanted to. But yeah, I have so many DS games, but I kind of narrowed it down to a handful of really strange ones. And I'm going to start with the earliest one that I got pretty much right after I got the DS. I was on the lookout. I got the DS very early, and I was on the lookout for any DS games. And this game had come out, and I was like, I love Yoshi's Island. I can't wait to play Yoshi Touch and Go, which looked like a sequel to Yoshi's Island to me. It's not. It's not at all. And I was very upset when I got this game. It's actually in here? It is. I don't have the manual anymore. I was very upset when I got this game because it's neat. It's a very neat DS game. It's basically a tech demo for the DS in a lot of ways, just kind of utilizing the touchscreen to the best of its ability. But it's not a Yoshi's Island game at all. It's a Yoshi's Island looking game, but it's a weird video. It's a very strange game in the Yoshi series. You know, they're most of them, I think, besides this one, they're all platformers. This is like a puzzle-y kind of platformy touchscreen gimmick game. I don't love it. I think it's probably not worth getting. I don't know how much it's worth anymore. It's probably cheap. But it's a weird novelty, for sure. I'm glad I own it. I'm glad I have such a weird history with it. It's very nostalgic. It's very, very nostalgic. I'll listen to the music, and I'm like, oh, man. Like, that era of, you know, when the DS came out and how exciting it was to play DS games was just so cool. And I'm glad this is the original copy I had ever since I was a kid, so I'm glad I still have it. Just a weird kind of anomaly of a DS game that nobody really talks about. This is a weird one, too. I have Metal Slug 7, which is in a slipcover, which is pretty cool. It's kind of beat up, the slipcover, but I think it came with a CD or something. Yeah, a mini CD, which is really interesting. I don't even really know what's on the mini CD, but that's cool. I have it. I've had this game for a long time, though. I don't know when I got it. I probably got it back in like 2011 or 2012, maybe. It's a pretty much no bullshit Metal Slug game. Very single player oriented, but it's a two-screened Metal Slug game. It is really good, actually, if I recall correctly. I loved this game when I played it. And it's just cool to have it's exclusive. It's not an arcade game first. It was, I think, exclusively on DS. So it's pretty cool to have a DS exclusive Metal Slug game. I should pop this in one of these days and play it again. It's been a minute. I kind of forgot I had it, and I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's a weird one. I gotta grab that. Yeah, I pretty much just looked at my collection and was like, that's a weird game, that's a weird game, that's a weird game. And just grabbed anyone that's just was strange, and I had something to say about it. But very cool, very weird novelty DS game, I think. I don't know how much it's worth. I would guess that this is probably a pretty expensive DS game. I've never looked up the price, but I wouldn't doubt it. Alright, next one. I will talk about this weird game. This is New International Track and Field, and you might be like, okay, why do you have that? Because this game is actually pretty fascinating. First of all, why is there so many... Because the friggin... This thing is so heavy. It's because the like, Wi-Fi manual is huge. So the only reason I got this game is because it's made by Konami, which that shouldn't matter. But I don't know if it'll be noticeable in any of these pictures. He's not here. You can play as some crossover Konami characters, including Sparkster, Rocket Knight's Sparkster, which is so weird. It's so strange. Is he in the manual? Let's see if he's in the manual. Just really strange inclusion to have Sparkster. I tried to unlock him, but this game is so dreadful. It is just touchscreen nonsense, and it is exhausting. It's just an exhausting kind of game. I just did not want to play it for a long period of time, and I was like, well, maybe one day I will, and I'll unlock the weird characters and stuff. But it was like $1 or something. It was super cheap. Very strange anomaly, though, to have this kind of weird Konami crossover track and field game. Again, just an excuse to have touchscreen. Like, you drag your finger across the bottom of the touchscreen to run or something. Weird game. Weird game. I'll save those for a minute. I have some licensed games. So we have SpongeBob, the Yellow Avenger. This might seem just like a normal-ass SpongeBob game, because it kind of is a normal-ass SpongeBob game. But this is a SpongeBob game made for the DS, and I loved this game as a kid. I absolutely adored it. Oh, man. Nick Games Academy. Who's in our class? Who's in our class? We got SpongeBob. Ew. Oh, I'm going to be sick. A little catalog of games. I got to play Nicktoons Unite. I feel like that was a game I missed out as a kid. It was like a dream come true kind of game as a kid, but I never played it. But yeah, oh my god. This game is bad, very bad. Pretty mediocre to bad, I would argue. A solid 4 or 5 out of 10 game, but I love it to death. It's kind of this weird, sort of a kind of ideal SpongeBob game for me as a kid, where it's kind of just a no bullshit adventure game. It's kind of adjacent to a Metroid game in a way. Very boring. Very boring Metroid game. But you explore Bikini Bottom as if it's a 2D open world almost. And it's kind of fun sometimes. I tried to replay it to talk about it for a video a year-ish ago, and I couldn't get through it. I'll be honest, I could not get through it. And I was going to make the video, and the video was was originally going to be about why this game is underrated, and it slowly turned into why this game is actually bad, and my memories have betrayed me. But yeah, it's also on PSP, which I think I own. I do. I also own it on PSP. I own this game twice, and I don't even like it very much anymore. But, it's incredibly nostalgic. Just incredibly nostalgic. And it's a weird novelty SpongeBob game. I would argue it is one of the more interesting SpongeBob games on handheld systems. And it is an exclusive DS/PSP SpongeBob game, which is kind of weird. I mean, that's not super normal when it comes to licensed games like that. Here's another weird licensed games I have. Dragon Ball Origins. So this is a game based on Dragon Ball, like the original Dragon Ball. It's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty dang good. It's also very good looking. I don't know if you can see that screenshot. They have a lot of scenes from Dragon Ball recreated, using the DS's graphics. And the DS has very charming 3D graphics in my opinion. They're very blocky and PS1-y, but it's cool to see that kind of thing on a DS. I bought this game at a retro game store that I used to work at. Oh, hey, look at that. I used to work at this. Actually, let's cover actually, this place isn't open anymore, and I don't live there anymore, so I don't even care. Actually, we should cover that, though. Whatever. This will be blurred anyway. Yeah, we'll cover some information here. I bought this for $15. I'm pretty sure this game is a lot more expensive than $15 now. But yeah, this game is actually pretty cool. I actually really appreciate this game for existing, and I'm glad I could pick it up when I did. There's a sequel to it as well that's probably more expensive than this one, but I didn't care. I just wanted it. I think even at the time that was a good deal for it, $15, and it was a game I wanted in my DS collection. I highly recommend checking it out if you can. If you like Dragon Ball, for sure. I think this is cool because I really like Dragon Ball more than Dragon Ball Z. And I feel like Dragon Ball doesn't have a lot of video games. Mostly Dragon Ball Z has the video game. So, and it's an adventure game. I think that fits Dragon Ball's storytelling and aesthetics very well. So, color me surprised. Fun game. Fun action adventure game. So we got some RPGs here. So we have Rhapsody, a musical adventure. And do I have a story about this game? So, for a little bit, a few months ago, I was using Whatnot, which I don't recommend using. This is not a sponsor. If Whatnot advertises this video because I mentioned it, fuck you, Whatnot. That's what I say to you. Now, it's an okay platform, but it's kind of a cesspool of resellers and people desperately trying to make fucking their rent every month. It's tough. But this one Whatnot stream I opened up to was a dude who usually sells like DVDs and furniture and just like, more thrift story thing. He came upon a storage unit of video games, and he had no idea what anything was worth. So everything was 10-second auctions starting at $1. And oh my god, some of the stuff he had was insane. And there were like maybe 20 of us in there, and we were all like working together to like get deals for each other. Like we were all kind of like communally like, all right, like, whatever, like, it was first come first serve. But if there was a game you really wanted, people usually slowed down to be like, you can take it. And like, I am telling you, this guy was crazy. And I could tell he was getting a little antsy and just wanted to get rid of some of this stuff. So he started just bundling things together from the box that he had. I am not kidding. This is not a made-up story. I watched this live, and this is so funny if you're into retro games. This is going to sound insane to you. He had Silent Hill 2. That was the auction immediately. And he did the auction thing at some point where it kept going up in time every time someone bid. So, it would just keep adding and adding. And he had, Silent Hill, and right before it ended, he would be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to add in like this game, and he'd pull another game and put it on top of it. And this box was like loaded with games, and he did not know what he was putting in there. So he had Silent Hill 2. It was at like $30 or something ridiculous. And he was like, you know what? Here. And he puts in like, I don't even know, like Suikoden or something, or like I think like Lunar 2 or Suikoden, or what is that one? There's like some crazy RPGs, and then eventually he keeps adding games. He's like, okay, I'm gonna add this one to it, and the price just keeps going up and up and up. And then eventually he just throws in, he's like Misadventures, like he just pulls out Misadventures of Tron Bonnie. He's like, this game here, this one too. And everyone in the chat is like, what the hell is going on? And it was just like absolutely insane. And I like the guy made a ton of money. I mean, like the auction went up to like $1,000 or something ridiculous. And I'm glad he bought the storage unit. He paid a lot of money for that storage unit, whatever. He made it fun. He made it fun for everyone. It was up to us, whoever were paying for it. But this game, I am not like a big spender. I was just watching and having a great time watching. But this game did come up, and this game is maybe like give or take like $60, and it came up, and a few people bid on it, and it was like $15-ish. And I bid, and then I immediately got outbid. And then I typed in chat, like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna try to get this game or whatever, because I was talking in the chat a lot. And then that person that was also bidding, I bid, and he stopped bidding, and he types in chat, like, all you, Dawn, all you. And I was like, yes. It's just so, like, camaraderie between, like, video game collectors in that moment. It was really cool. So I got this game for, like, less than $20, which is a really good deal. I would have probably not bought it otherwise, because it's not really something I needed, but something I just kind of really wanted, because it's a real novelty RPG. But what is the game anyway? Because I've been talking about how I got it. It's an RPG with musical numbers for some reason, and it was originally on PS1. Very charming video game on PS1. This version of it is not as good at all, but I love the fact that it's on DS. I think it's a really cool little novelty. They change up the combat, but I prefer the combat in this game, like, in terms of my taste. It's just a normal JRPG combat. The first game has this weird, like, creature collecting, sort of, like, what would you call it? Like, RTS, I guess? Sort of strategy RPG sort of thing. Really boring for me, but this is more my taste, but it is not as good of a game. It just does not hold a candle to the PS1 game. But either way, it's cool, and I'm glad I own it, because I really wanted it for a long time, and I got it for a really good deal, and there's a funny story behind it. So yeah, I don't think you'll ever find a Whatnot stream like that. This is not your, like, do not go on Whatnot expecting to get crazy deals. It's usually resellers knowing what they have, but fun instance. This is a real funny memory of Whatnot that I have, I will say. All right, this one I have, which is Nostalgia, which is a very nostalgia with the airship and the generic characters. You kind of know exactly what this game is. It is a no bullshit JRPG trying to be a no bullshit JRPG. Very much trying to be like a 90s Super Nintendo kind of JRPG, PS1 era JRPG. It's cool. It's not bad, but I think it's a little boring. I get what they're going for, obviously. It's not, they didn't hide it very well, obviously. But, you know, there's a lot of good JRPGs, and to make one that's just like, here's a new one that's just like the old things, is a little lame. I think the characters were pretty neat. You had like a cowboy and like a mage girl and whatever. But other than that, I barely remember it. Barely. It looks good. It's a very cool looking PS1-esque looking DS game. All 3D graphics and everything. I think it's worth something these days. I remember seeing a glimpse of it or something. I was like, oh my god, that game's worth money. I bought this forever ago on eBay, I think, for like probably nothing. You know, I remember buying this right when the best offer feature was starting to be introduced, and I remember best offering way lower than it was listed, and they accepted it, and I was like, whoa, people do that? So the last RPG I have to talk about from the system is The Wizard of Oz Beyond the Yellow Brick Road. For people who know, they're probably like, oh shit, this game's crazy. For people who don't, you might be like, wait, what? What do you mean RPG? This is a Wizard of Oz JRPG. Completely. Wizard of Oz JRPG. Like, actually exactly that. It comes with 2 manuals. Interesting. One's must be in French or something. I love the ad for normal Wizard of Oz on, is it Blu-ray? On Blu-ray. So yeah, it's fully 3D too. It is a Wizard of Oz JRPG. Japanese-made JRPG about Wizard of Oz. And, you know, structure of a Wizard of Oz works pretty well as a JRPG. You know, you collect your little party members as you go. Look at Tin Man. It's insane. The designs are excellent in this game. Look at Oz. It's so cool. Lots of cool NPCs. Oh my god, look at the cats. They're so cute. Cool game. Very, very cool game. And when I discovered this game, I swear, there was like one YouTube video about it. Like, in like literally just like gameplay video about it. There was no like video essay or anything. There was like nothing about this game. And I was like, what is this game? I was like, why is this just like dodged everyone's radar for like a decade? And you know, was at the retro store that someone brought it in at that retro game store that I worked at, and I got this game for like $15, and I was a happy camper because I feel like I could barely find listings of it on eBay at all. Now I think it's worth money because I think people got wind of it, and a weird game like this is, you know, gonna be worth something because it's weird and probably decent. I don't think I ever beat it, but I got decently far in it. It's a little boring. It's very, like, you know, classic sort of dungeon crawly RPG. Use a virtual touch ball or whatever, like trackball on the bottom of the screen with the touch screen, and it works. It works okay. I wouldn't say it works super well, but it works okay. Just the novelty alone, though, is worth almost probably not the price of admission these days, but was worth the $15 of price of admission when I bought it. It's just a really cool, weird DS game to own. Very evocative of what the DS is, what kind of games people were willing to make on the Nintendo DS. Just a cool RPG. So here's one. I gotta grab something for this one. So this one requires a peripheral. We have Wappy Dog with Wappy Dog. Wappy Dog. It's basically virtual robot dog game. And it utilizes this Wappy Dog. I don't have batteries in it right now, but it is so friggin' cute. I love this thing, actually. And I was really, really trying to get it because I bought it on eBay eventually, but I'd seen this game online and I was just like, what a weird idea. It's more or less Nintendogs with mini games. Really basic Nintendogs with mini games. It's basically missing all of the like gameplay loop satisfaction that Nintendogs had that made it good. It just has a like pet and feed dog, like nothing else. But it does have a a feature where Wappy Dog can hear the DS, and the DS cannot hear Wappy Dog, just that way. So the DS will make a chime, and Wappy Dog will be like, "Row, row, row," and will like do a little noise or something. It can like squat and do this because it has like wheels on its feet. Pretty cool little critter. It's a pretty cool little novelty for the DS. Another very evocative DS era thing. I mean, a virtual pet mixed with a physical virtual pet, which were really popular back in the mid 2000s. It just feels all too right? Like it just feels like it's meant to be. So Sega Toys. This was developed by Sega, apparently. Very, very Japanese too. Not great. I don't think it's worth your time, but it is a neat novelty. If you are interested in the DS, it might be worth it. I got it for really cheap. I think both the game and the Wappy Dog was like, I don't even know, less than 20 bucks for sure. So, I don't know, for a cute little peripheral and like an interesting little novelty video game, I didn't mind spending it. Okay, I got two more games. This one is very strange. This is Ping Pals on DS. I don't know why I bought this. I think it was like $1 or something at a retro game store, and my friend was with me, and he was like, "You got to get that game. It is so strange." And like he knows I was just into this kind of weird shit. It is very strange. It's not strange. It's not playable enough to be fun strange, but it is strange. It is basically a upgraded PictoChat. That is the best way to word it. It is PictoChat, but with more things to do. You can message your friends via local play and draw messages, and when you do that, you unlock coins, and you can spend your coins on customizing your Ping Pal character. But if you don't have someone to play with, you have to talk to AI, and the AI is not AI at all. It maybe responds to like two types of messages, which is like hi and bye. It doesn't say anything, and it's basically non-playable if you don't have a local person to play with. And I don't think it has download play, so somebody else would have to have Ping Pals. This was developed by WayForward, weirdly enough. It's a real product of the DS times. I don't know how this was even sold or who bought this, but, you know, this sort of the novelty of early chat rooms, this very obvious, like, Habbo Hotel / Maple Story, early mid-2000s aesthetic to everything. It is a real period piece of a video game. Not fun enough for me to recommend you get it, even for $1. You can't do anything with it. But it is a cool thing to gawk at for sure. And the last game I have is absolute video game Kino Imagine figure skating. I actually got this very recently at a retro game store for like $1. But the reason I bought this is not because I like figure skating or I like the Imagine games. It's because it's actually a fucking anime game. It's actually not even what you think it is. It's just an anime game. It is totally just a American skinned anime localization figure skating video game. I haven't even tried it really, but it looks so stupid. Sushi training? They didn't even like bother. I love games like this. These weird translation things. There's like a whole bunch of these that you can find. Of just look up a game called Mobile Light Force on PS1, and just look up a gameplay, just like a long play of it, and just don't skip around. Just watch it and like get to the point where you'll realize what game that is. It is so funny. They just didn't even try. Like, they just basically localized the game like any other anime game, and then just slapped this cover on it because they knew it wouldn't sell without it. Very interesting. There's a lot of these. I think Ubisoft did a lot of this stuff back in the day. There were like dogs with a Z and cats with a Z. Those were all just anime. I say anime games, but, you know, Japanese games. I say anime because it looks like, you know, anime art style. But they're Japanese games made for little Japanese girls or little Japanese children. And it's just fascinating. You can find these at like thrift stores, so look out for them. Some of them, I think there's a handful of them that are literally just Japanese localizations. If you find that interesting or any kind of novelty to that, look out for it. It's very funny. I'm sure you can find it at, you know, somewhere. I'm sure you could find one of these games for cheap somewhere. But yeah, that's some of those weird DS games. The DS has a lot of weird video games, and it's like my favorite system of all time. I love the Nintendo DS. I have a ton of games, like mostly not this weird, but most of them are normal, cool video games. But highly recommend collecting for the DS. Some of it's gotten a little expensive now for some reason. I don't know why. Some games are really expensive, but most of it is pretty affordable, and there's plenty of really good games you can get under like $10 for the DS. I showed one off in my $10 cheap game video. But yeah, this is why the DS is good. If anyone ever asks why the DS is so good and so memorable, you show them Ping Pals. Ping Pals is why the DS is good, understand? That is, you can tell them I told you that, and that I am the smart one, and you should listen to me. Anyway, until the next video I decide to make, yeah. Goodbye. We'll have Wappy Dog say bye this time. Goodbye. Goodbye.